Have you ever wondered what sets sharp-minded co-founders apart? How do they cleverly navigate risk or identify their startup's edge and make every resource count? The answer lies in a powerful strategy, mapping the consumer experience and its journey. Hi guys, I'm Devina Kothari and I'm an innovator with cross-vertical expertise. Today, I'm going to share a concoction of some of my learnings focused on consumer journeys across the past 13 years. A consumer experience or a journey map helps startups understand the consumer's experience before, during, and after buying the startup's product or service. Mapping it helps identify barriers and unmet needs and wants of the target consumers to help mine insights and opportunities, addressing which would facilitate creating the best experience for every type of consumer. So let's understand this a little more deeply. These pre to post purchase phases can be technically further categorized into 5 key phases. The first one is awareness. That's when the consumers realize that they have a need, problem, or an opportunity to benefit themselves. Once the consumers are aware, they enter the second phase, the research phase, where they look for solutions, gather information, and understand their own preferences and requirements. Following their research, the consumer makes a crucial decision of whether or not to invest in the product or service. If not, this is where the consumer is potentially lost. However, if they proceed, they begin to refine their choices, and this is precisely where the unique selling points, our USPs, market differentiators, and all other factors come into play. This marks the third phase, the consideration phase. Once the consumers opt for your startup's offering, the subsequent step involves pinpointing the precise product or service from an array of options, assembling the selection, possibly subscribing, or even streamlining a task. This constitutes the pivotal purchase phase. This is quite an influential stage that frequently drives sales. Finally, after making the purchase, the consumer engages with the product or service, confirming their initial impressions of both the brand and the product. And based on this experience, they determine whether they will continue to use it or not. This encompasses the post-purchase and the support phase. Often co-founders and strategists make this mistake that they consider this journey as being linear, but it is actually a combination of linear and cyclical phases. Often the initial linear phase is resource intensive and the latter cyclical phase brings in the ROI. Throughout these 5 phases, consumers engage with the brand and its offerings through various channels. Any interaction a consumer has with the brand, regardless of the medium or format, is considered a touch point. Within each phase of the consumer's buying journey, there may be several touch points that collectively guide them along the path. And these touch points within the consumer journey are influenced by strategies employed in marketing, sales, product development, or customer service. So why are these touch points so important? Well, there are many benefits to understanding and mapping them, like improving customer support, adapting to changes in the consumer behavior and preferences, optimizing consumer experience, and so on and so forth. But two most important ones are: one, tailoring the communication. Knowing the touch points helps us, startups, tailor our communication and marketing efforts. We can deliver relevant content and messages that resonate with the consumers at each stage of their journey. And second, maximizing the ROI. So, by understanding which touch points are most influential, startups can allocate resources more effectively. We can focus our efforts on the touch points that yield the highest return on investment. So, to grasp the concept of touch points and its diverse categories, let's consider an example. Imagine a mobile application dedicated to online shopping for fast fashion. We often get tempted for a purchase when we see an end of season sale or a 50% off advertised on a billboard, or stickers, display ads, flyers, or pamphlets with newspapers that we get in the morning. Often these are the golden tickets to consumers' heart, but once we get tempted, subsequently we promptly enter the store or visit an online app. Next, we engage in conversations with the store staff or explore the proprietary app or probably on an aggregator. We click on deals, we look for new launches, we use filters, search, and so on and so forth. So once we identify a desired product and set it aside, we are often tempted to consider alternatives or similar options either on the same or a similar platform or in a different physical store. Soon we reach a crucial junction where we either decide to take a break and return, or maybe not return. Or if we are content with our selection, we proceed to make the purchase and exit. If we purchase, upon unboxing and using the product, we assess our decision, experiencing either satisfaction or otherwise. In case of an unsatisfactory experience, we often seek further support. Based on this overall experience, we deliberate whether to revisit the same store or opt for a different course of action next time. Simple. Now let's delve into the diverse touch points and their classifications throughout this entire journey. The billboards, flyers, display ads, stickers, posters, and similar promotional materials. All of these are classified as marketing collaterals. The storefront and the store layout are classified as physical properties. The online and digital assets like digital ads, websites, apps, social media pages, influencer content, and those on the aggregator platforms, all of these are classified as digital properties. All the interactions occurring in store with staff, cashiers, sales teams, or customer service teams are classified as physical interactions. The online purchase experiences, from finding the best price to the checkout process, confirmation emails, reviews and ratings, and interactions with chatbots, all of these fall under the digital interactions. Interactions with the product itself is labeled as product interactions. This product interaction can happen before purchase in an offline channel, but it can also happen in post purchase in case of online buying journey. We'll observe often that the position of these touch points varies based on the type and category of purchase. In the hybrid world, where packaging may include QR codes for feedback or surveys or vice versa, participating in a survey or leaving a feedback earns maybe a freebie or contributes to hybrid loyalty programs, and probably you qualify for a product in the offline world. So these activities are categorized as digital property. Returning to our consumer journey, let's plot these touch points on the map. A lot of marketing collaterals like billboards, flyers, posters, social media ads, search engine results, etc., are most effective in the awareness stage. Websites, assets on aggregator platforms, influencer content, social media assets are extremely effective in the research phase. Chatbots, storefronts, online product reviews, word of mouth, conversations with in store staff, all of these are effective in the consideration and evaluation phase. In store staff, store layout, aggregator platform, proprietary website, payment gateways, cashier, all of these are effective in the purchase phase. The product interaction will oscillate between the purchase and post purchase phases depending upon the offline or online mode of purchase. Transaction confirmation emails, delivery and packaging assets, delivery tracking, customer support interactions, and product usage guidelines are effective in post purchase phase. Feedback surveys, along with a lot of marketing collaterals like billboards, flyers, posters, social media ads, and search engine results, are most effective again in the retention and re engagement cycle. Reviews and ratings, loyalty programs, referral programs, exclusive offers for loyal customers, and community engagement programs are most effective in the loyalty and advocacy phase. Chatbots and customer support are most effective in the crisis management and improvement phase. Now that we have identified the various touch points where the consumers interact with the brand or product or service throughout the different phases, the next step is to accurately gauge the customer's emotions at each of these touch points. This involves understanding their thoughts, anticipated actions, and overall feelings. One highly effective method to obtain precise data is by employing metrics like CSAT, NPS, and CES through surveys, and even better, through live interactions. We've often come across brands or services asking questions like, how satisfied are you with our product or service, or a feature, or a newly launched functionality? Please rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is very dissatisfied and 5 is satisfied. This constitutes a basic customer satisfaction or a CSAT score, which measures the customer contentment with the product or a service that it is being employed for. A simpler and most common way to calculate CSAT is to just take the number of very satisfied or satisfied results, which are consumers who rated, say, 4 and 5, and divide this by the total number of respondents and then multiply it by 100. The CSAT score can vary significantly, by industry to industry. But however, any score above 75% is typically considered good across most industry types. So a CSAT score provides startups with insight into how well they are meeting consumer expectations and highlights areas for enhancement or improvement. The second question that we've encountered very often is, how likely are you to recommend a product or service to a friend or a colleague? This relates to the Net Promoter or the NPS score, a metric used to assess customer loyalty and probability of the customer advocating for the company's offerings. Customers rate their likelihood to recommend on a scale from 0 to 10, categorizing them into promoters that have rated the product or service between 9 to 10. These consumers are likely to promote the product or a service or the feature that you're conducting the NPS for and are considered as loyal consumers. Then comes the passives, who have rated the product or service between, say, 7 to 8. These consumers are satisfied but not particularly enthusiastic or loyal. And the last ones are detractors, who have rated the product or service between 0 to 6. These consumers are not satisfied and potentially harmful to the product, service, functionality, or a feature through a negative word of mouth or a review. The NPS is calculated by subtracting the percentage of detractors from the percentage of promoters. The creators of the NPS metric, the Bain and Company, mentioned that although an NPS score anything above 0 is good, but anything that's above 20 is great, and above 50 is exceptional and amazing. The NPS helps startups understand customer advocacy and identify areas for improvement to turn these detractors into promoters. And third, we've also observed inquiries like, on a scale from 1 to 7, how easy was it for you to resolve your issue today? This pertains to the customer effort score, or the CES. This evaluates the ease with which the customers can accomplish their objectives when interacting with your product or service. Responses can range from very easy as 1 to very difficult as 7. Customer effort score is calculated by the sum of all customer effort scores divided by the total number of respondents. A low CES score indicates that customers found it simpler to achieve their goals. CES assists companies in streamlining their processes and reducing customer effort, ultimately leading to greater satisfaction. In summary, these scores, Net Promoter Score, Customer Satisfaction, and Customer Effort Score, serve as valuable tools for plotting the consumer's emotional journey at each touch point across various phases of their consumer experience. This entire exercise helps us see the journey from only one of the stakeholders' perspectives at a given point of time. Typically, we begin with the consumer. But are all consumers the same? Absolutely not. They come in various profiles, right? So let's understand what are these various types of consumers by imagining a scenario. Let's imagine buying the latest iPhone. So there are some consumers who eagerly pre-order the latest iPhone as soon as it's announced. They often queue up at the stores to be among the first ones to get their hands on it. They actively engage in beta testing programs. They closely follow tech forums and blogs to gain early insights. They are avidly interested in exploring cutting edge features and technologies. The next category of consumers are the ones who swiftly upgrade to the newest iPhone shortly after its release. They are highly likely to share their experiences on social media, generating a buzz and anticipation. They are the ones who keep a close eye on tech trends, value reviews from reputable sources. Another kind of consumers are the ones who opt to purchase the iPhone once they see real world evidence of its reliability and functionality. They tend to wait for initial reviews and feedback from early adopters and tech enthusiasts. They are more inclined to buy through established channels like official stores and authorized retailers. The next category of consumers are the ones who might acquire the previous model at a discounted price following the launch of a new version. They tend to wait until the latest iPhone is widely available and the initial excitement has pretty much settled down. Lastly, there are a set of consumers who seek out even more affordable options, including second-hand or refurbished iPhones. They are often the last ones to embrace the new iPhone and may continue using older models until they are no longer functional or no longer supported. Their purchasing decisions are often influenced by external factors like family or work requirements. So, this diverse range of consumer behavior mirrors how the broader consumer base responds to any new product, service, or a feature launch. These overarching segments tend to exhibit similar reactions, whether it's the launch of a new Tesla model, or the release of a highly anticipated Rajnikant movie. So in technical terms, we have the following distinct categories. First, the consumers that are enthusiasts and risk takers. They possess a very high tolerance for uncertainty and who are eager to experiment with new and unproven products. They are categorized as the innovators. Consumers that hold sway as opinion leaders and influencers within their social circles. Consumers that highly value innovation and often serve as the go-to sources for tech advice are categorized in this context as the early adopters. Compared to the innovators and early adopters, consumers that are more risk averse and prioritize proven value and reliability are categorized as the early majority. They constitute a substantial portion of the target audience. The fourth type of consumer embraces products or services once they have become well established, mainstream, or when their current devices or services become obsolete. They are categorized as the late majority. They usually tend to approach new technology with a lot of skepticism. The last group of consumers who exhibit the most risk averse and traditional adoption behavior are categorized as the laggards. They are resistant to change and typically only adopt new products out of necessity. The law of diffusion of innovation is the theory proposed by Everett Rogers, a professor in communication studies. The law of diffusion of innovation is a theory proposed by Everett Rogers, a professor of communication studies. He emphasizes that for any product or service innovation to reach mass market success or to sustain stick phase, it needs to reach a critical mass of adopters or the tipping point. This yellow area, which is the 15 to 18%, is the tipping point of the diffusion curve. Under normal circumstances, it is difficult enough for any product or service innovation to reach this tipping point. So if you aren't there, don't worry, you will get there soon. The law of diffusion of innovation affirms this classification and behavioral trend. When viewed from the standpoint of the consumer journey, these represent distinct personas. Each persona, be it the innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, or laggards, embarks on a unique journey replete with untapped potential. Depending on the product or service's nature, its features and functionalities are customized, promoted, or advertised to align with the preferences of each persona. Hence, we observe how this intricately layered framework addresses many of the pivotal challenges that startups consistently encounter in their entrepreneurial venture. Let's now visualize how this layering manifests in reality when we put it on paper. Let's craft a consumer experience journey tailored for an early adopter persona from Tier 1 India for a purchase on a fast fashion e-commerce app. Let's overlap the touch points and the consumer's activity in this area across all 5 stages of the buying process. Since it is a journey for online purchase, a lot of physical properties and interactions take a backstage. We see a detached cycle in the awareness phase, and this is what I was referring to in the beginning of this talk. This phase is often resource intensive. Later in the journey, we see a linear progression, and this is where we have ROI with consumer loyalty. Let's add the feelings and emotions graph created for the journey using the CES, NPS, and CSAT scores. For the sake of understanding, the green area on the plot is for positive feelings, and the red area is for not so positive feelings. For visual reference, add emojis for recall value and try and plot all these feelings in alignment with the activities above. This will help mine insights. But before jumping to the insights and opportunities, I would like to mention that it is always nice to mention the guiding principles for this journey. It sets a certain tone and gives reference to the entire team who shall be using this map for mining insights and opportunities or plan product level upgrades. Let's feed the guiding principles or some key hypotheses here. The two horizontal areas right at the bottom are for plotting the insights and opportunities. Let's analyze this. If we look closely, the feelings graph suggests that there is scope of improvement in the sign-in sign-up segment. Upon dissecting the segment and competition benchmarking, one can identify whether the problem is in the number of steps taken or the UI or any other backend glitch which is making the experience unpleasant. Similarly, the consumers are satisfied with the filters on the app in this area, but they are not particularly very happy with it either. Second in the priority list, though, the product team might plan to revise this experience for a future version launch. Next in the journey, the add to cart segment is very delightful for the consumer, and the product team might choose to leave this segment untouched. So these are a few examples on how might the journey help us see a holistic picture. To sum up, some of the areas where unique persona-based consumer journeys can play a pivotal role are, as discussed, tailoring marketing strategies. Knowing the different adopter categories allows the startups to tailor their marketing strategies accordingly. For instance, innovators and early adopters may respond well to messages emphasizing on innovation and cutting edge features, while the early majority may require more evidence of the product's reliability and value. This optimizes the resources for marketing spends by using laser sharp targeting. Pricing strategies. Pricing can be adjusted based on the adoption curve. Innovators, for example, may be willing to pay a premium for early access, while the late majority and laggards may wait for prices to stabilize and they love discounts. Third, influencer engagement. Early adopters play a critical role in influencing the majority of the adopters. Startups can identify and engage with influencers within their target audience to accelerate the adoption rates for the product or service. Fourth, risk mitigation. For risk-averse segments like the late majority and laggards, providing guarantees, warranties, or trial periods can help mitigate their concerns and encourage adoption. Fifth, product iterations and improvements. Feedback from different adopter categories can guide product iterations. Innovators and early adopters may provide insights into cutting edge features, while the early majority's feedback can focus on usability and reliability. And lastly, the sixth, for market expansion. Understanding the diffusion curve can inform expansion strategies. For instance, once the product has gained traction among innovators and early adopters, it may be time to target the early majority through broader marketing efforts. Interesting, isn't it? There's a lot of science that goes behind understanding and then influencing the consumer. Today, we have delved through the intricate landscape of consumer journey and experiences. We've understood the phases that define a consumer's path, understanding how awareness evolves into consideration, culminating in purchase, followed by post purchase interactions. We've dissected touch points, identifying them as key interactions that guide consumers through the various phases of their buying journey, both in the physical and digital realms. We've unraveled the diverse personas, recognizing that each type of consumer brings a unique journey with a story of its own. Last, we don't stop at mere observation of emotion and feelings of the consumer. We delve deeper, employing powerful metrics like CSAT, CES, NPS to map emotions along this journey. We turn data into insight, understanding not just what the consumers do, but how they feel while they are doing what they do. This is where the magic happens, where we uncover opportunities, refine strategies, and sculpt experiences that resonate with the consumer's head and heart. Remember, every touch point, every emotion is a brush stroke on the canvas of consumer experience. It's not just about the product or service. It's about the story we tell, the emotions we evoke, and the trust we build. By listening to our consumers, we don't just improve our offerings, we co create value. So, as you embark on your entrepreneurial journey, armed with this newfound understanding, remember this: it's not about selling a product, it's about crafting an experience. It's about understanding, empathizing, and innovating. It's about seeing the world through your consumer's eye.